Hi folks, Mike Stoffergen with Showstopper Sequences. I wanted to spend some time today to talk about a problem created by props with lots of submodels. One of the ways to deal with high density props that have a lot of submodels is to create a group that exists outside of the model itself. Let me give you an example here. This is the PPD wreath that I've got highlighted on the left here. And you'll see underneath the model itself there are submodels for the diamond arms, the valleys, the centerpiece, the center rings, the outer diamonds, and all the spirals. Okay, these are the ones that come with the PPD wreath itself. But those are submodels, and you'll see that they exist outside of the main model. Well, that's fine and dandy when you've only got, 6 or 7 submodels that you're dealing with. But what happens when you have 70 submodels? Well, what that would do is it would add 70 additional groups to your listing there for sequencing purposes. But there is another way to deal with it that actually gives you some more flexibility. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to a different location. And we'll select this folder right here. We're going to discard those changes. Okay, now this layout we're looking at now, this is 4 of the Showstopper spinners. And if you're familiar with the prop at all, you'll know it's got quite a few submodels. I have them divided up by group area, like whole spinner, outer, middle, center. Okay, so I've got it broken up a little bit to make it so you know when you're sequencing where those effects are going to affect the prop, where they're going to modify the prop. But if you were to do what we did with the PPD wreath, you would end up with at least 70 submodels. Now, let me show you the way that you can create these. It's not that hard. Let's look here at this spinner here. We're going to get a listing. All right, 06 circles even. Okay, each one of these props, whether it's spinner 2, 3, 4, 5, does not matter, is going to have this submodel. So what I'm going to do, I right click. I'm going to add an empty group. Move it so I can see what I'm doing here. And we're going to call it 06 circles dash even. The V is for vertical. Okay, so now that's created this group here. We need to populate it. So I'm going to put in a filter here, and we'll make the filter 06. There we go. So we got the 06 circles. I'm just going to highlight these for spinners 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to add them and then save it. Okay, so that's how I populated that group. Makes it really easy to filter it, and you can go in and just create as many groups as you want. Now the problem you have, again, 70 submodels that are going to sit outside of the main model. Well, there's an alternate way to do this, and let's talk about this a little bit. So I'm going to go up here. I've got a sequence that I've already been working on a little bit. Okay, I've got it called up. And you'll see here I've got Showstopper spinner 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those are the ones that you see down here on the left, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to import the effects. I'm going to browse to where I've got the file. I'm going to use the zip file. Remember, always import from the zip file. I'm going to open it up. All right, I'm going to list the first spinner here, and then I'm going to scroll down to where you see the numbered spinners. And the way that I deal with this is I just go through and say, okay, I'm going to add this one. Then it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we skip one, so I'm going to go down, skip one there, go to 12. Well, we skip a couple of them, so I'm going to do that. And We just add those all the way through down. Okay, and we complete that out. All right, then we would save that mapping. I've already done that, so I don't want to overwrite what I've already done, but we save that mapping and we just tell it OK. Now that's our first time through. You can do this when you map all the other things. You can make it as part of your mapping, however you want to do it. But we're just going to tell it OK. And what it's going to do, let me go show you. I'm going to double click on the Showstopper spinner and you'll see that all these are added in. Now I'm going to do what I call mapping back. When you map back, what you need to do is after you do your first mapping, you're going to save it. All right, then I'm going to go to import effects. Now instead of doing levitating, I'm going to go back to the sequence I just saved, which is levitating itself. And I'm going to open that. And you'll see now on the right, we just have the spinner information that we just brought in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to map this to spinners 3, spinner 4, and then which I've already done, and then spinner 5. All right, so let me load the mapping that I had previously saved. All right, and you'll see here I've got spinner 2. Okay. Now, what you do to make things more interesting, you've got all these spinners over here, and I only need to deal with these first ones. All right, so we've got them all loaded up. Everything's looking great here, right? And let me show you. I'm going to go down to spinner 5. That's the only one that I have not mapped in yet. So spinner 2 is good. Spinner 3 is good. Spinner 4 is good. Now let's look at spinner 5. There hasn't been anything mapped, but I've got here, and I only need to use the first set. All right, so this first one here starts with circles 5. I like the circles, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that in there. Now we got circles odd. Well, let me change that to 02. And then the even, let me change it to this one. Now you'll notice I'm changing things up. What this allows you to do by mapping to different submodels is when you get done, you will have a different look than what you started with. Okay, so I've got a cascading petal here. Let me add that to the circles odd. Let me see, 1, 2, 3. So I've got 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Add it to the big petals. Now I'm going to add that to the oysters. Then I have big petals odd. I'm going to switch that up. I'm going to put the even on the odd, and then put the odd on the even. Big Y. Make that swirl right. And then swirl right. Okay, that's the spinners all. Let me put that on the short spinners. How's that? Swirl left. Put that on the trophies. Okay, so I'm going to go up and I'm going to vary it. I'm not going to take the time to do all the ones all the way through, but you get the idea. Change it up as you go. Keep some of them the same. I'm just going to do a partial mapping here. Just tell it okay. You sure you want to exit? Yeah, I'm going to exit without those. But all right, so let me save that. Get over here where it's a little bit interesting. I'm going to hit play.
Alright. I had a premonition that we fell into a rhythm where the music don't stop for life. Glitter in the sky, glitter in my eyes, shining just the way you like. If you're feeling like you need a little bit of...
Alright, so you get the idea of what we're trying to do. So what you do, it's real simple. You set up your mapping to do just one of the multiples that you have. Then after you map it, you save it, you go back in, and then you map back to itself, and you create an import file that has all your other props. So you're just going from your spinner to your spinners, your snowflake to your snowflake, but you change up the submodels, and when you do that, even though it's matched up to the music, you're going to get a different look from each of your spinners. So I hope you find that helpful for you. Again, it's a way to avoid having all those submodels existing outside, yet provide yourself with a great deal of flexibility when you have multiple spinners or multiples of the same prop to give them a different look. So two big advantages there, something to consider when you're doing your mapping. Hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching. Be sure and visit us at www.showstoppersequences.com.